Well, hello guys. I have some difficulties over here. I'm not sure why. My original live stream didn't start. So um, let me tell anyone or everyone on the other stream that I started a new one, and hopefully they're gonna follow. So let me just type in, and I'll be right back. This is ridiculous. What's going on? Five or more waiting. Hey guys, something happened and I started a new live stream. Go to my channel and look for it. Look for it. I'm sorry. So let's see if that's going to work. Let me see what's going on over here. This is so weird. I have no idea what's going on. Um let's see. Hey everyone who's joining, who's who's see joining in, look for the newer live live stream. Let's see. Um, let's see if everyone going to come in here. I have no idea what happened. Seriously, I have no idea what happened. Um, so hopefully someone will join in, and if not, I'll just go ahead and let me set the lights over here. Okay. Hey Norm, how are you? You can hear me okay? Everything's good. I have no idea what happened with the other um stream. I set it up and it just froze. Hold on, I'm going to change the light over here. Hold on. Okay, hopefully that's better. Okay, good, Norm. Thank you. I will probably have to go back and forth to the other one because it looks like people are still waiting on the other one. So I want to make sure I'm writing. Hey Norm, maybe could you maybe type on the other one that there's a technical issue and it moved to the newer stream? Um, it shows that there are more people waiting, but I don't see them coming in here. So, um, okay, thank you. I'll try to write as well. Let's see. Um, technical issues with this stream. I have, oops, I have started a new live. Go back to my channel. If I can type and look for the new live. Okay. hopefully people will hopefully people will do that. There's a new feed. Thanks, Norm. Um, was it easy? Norm, was it easy to find? I think if you go back to, I think when you go back to my channel, it's probably going to show Sage's live, right? I believe that's how it works. I have no idea what happened. It keeps saying over here, waiting for Sage. Well, I'm here, so I don't know why it's waiting for Sage. But anyway, um, we can start, and then I guess I'll just talk, and if people miss it, they can always look for it later on and look at the recording. So let me first start with the what we call the announcement. Man, I hate that lighting. It makes me look like purple. Let's see here. There we go. That should be better, I think. We'll see. Okay. Norm, let's see. I found under the chat section where other videos are found. Okay, cool. Okay. Well, hopefully the other people that are waiting um will jump back in here. I think there's 3 of you right now, right? Okay. Okay, cool. I'm so sorry. Technology. That's why I'm doing analog stuff, and I I, I don't want to mess with digital and computers and all that stuff. That's why I stick to analog. I mean, you know what you're putting in, you know how they work, and that's it. So let me first start with the announcement, and then we can go into some questions I received on social media, and you guys can ask it over here if you want to. It will be fine. So the announcement is this: everyone who followed me for the past few years, ever since COVID started, you already know all the COVID chaos that happened, and for me as a small business and someone who rely on what I'm going to call the analog parts, um, parts were not available for about 2.5 years, almost 3 years now, and which caused me to do a semi shutdown. Um, in the first year and a half, I was still accepting pre-orders, but when I start realizing somewhere around 2022, I realized that we're going to have a major issue in parts availability, and therefore I won't be able to promise any of my clients uh, when their unit's going to be available to ship. So I kind of like shut down the store and stop accepting orders. That was actually around 2021. So, and then from time to time, when I was getting messages from and emails from all the providers and parts providers, that hey, we're back in business and we can ship it to you shortly. They promised me dates. They promised me, it's going to get there in a couple of weeks, going to get there a couple of months, and when time comes, same old story. You probably heard it from other businesses as well. It's still not there. So, Benado Effects was on a total shutdown for 2 years now, but that doesn't mean I didn't work in the background, try to get stuff ready to whenever it's going to be available. Also, I spent a lot of time redesigning, and the reason I'm saying redesigning is also what happened during COVID, because of the availability chaos in the industry, all of a sudden we start realizing that some parts are no longer available. Some parts are discontinued, which force a lot of the companies to go ahead and redesign everything they have or had, if they still wanted to produce it, and try to design it to the parts that are available. Um, with me and the way I design stuff and the way I work with my engineers, we don't cut corners at all. That's why it takes longer. That's why it takes a little bit longer for my stuff to hit the market. It's because we're focusing on, how do we make the stuff that everyone liked and everyone loved, and make sure that it sounds the same or maybe even better with the newer parts. And that takes a lot of time, because you got to make sure that every parts are co-work with other ones. Um, because there's going to be sometimes a mismatch, and then if that happens, your whole circuit is just going to go to a chaos. That's why it took a long time, because we had to pay attention to details. We had to pay attention to, like each circuit can contain anywhere from 50 at a minimum to like 200 parts. And you got to make sure that every single one of them is working together in harmony. So that was one chaos. The other chaos was that the electronics were, believe it or not, electronics were available for me pretty early. Uh, I will say probably somewhere around 2022 or 2020. Yeah, around 2022, beginning of 23, I was okay with electronics. The one part that I have the hardest time to get ever since COVID up until 3 months ago was the enclosures. That's funny. Um, and then most of my parts are made in the USA. Enclosures are made here in the United States. And there was a chaos. I mean, it was complete chaos. In the beginning, a lot of businesses were shut down. And then the big metal shop, the corporate metal shops, they didn't want to deal with someone like me. Unless you drop in $1 million or a $5 million order, they're not going to talk to you. Then those who stayed in business raised prices by 400%. 400%. I'm not joking. So I had a choice, which of course I didn't take it. Raise my prices by 400%, which is ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. Or just continue look for the metal shop that will be reasonable enough and still provide a quality part. And that's the reason it was taking long. This message is mainly for all the people that have been prepaid and pre-ordered almost 2 years ago. Believe it or not, I do have clients that pre-ordered over 2 years now. So I'm giving all that long speech right now. It's because I wanted to make sure that they understand. A lot of them I talked in person. I mean, a lot of people know they can talk to me directly, and we can communicate directly. So a lot of them knows, but I just want to make sure that a lot of people understand that was the hold on for a second. I want to make sure that people are still I don't think people are waiting there. I hope they didn't leave and they were just anyway. So the announcement is that finally after 2.5 years, we are getting into production in the next 2 weeks. you know, just that's if we're not going to hit with something else, which I don't expect, but who knows. But as of now, all the parts that needed, everything that is needed to start production is pretty much available. So production is going to start in the next 2 weeks. There are a lot of clients that pre-ordered the Steel Dream, for instance. Been waiting for a long time. So the good news, the announcement is that we are getting into production in the next 2 weeks. And then I'll say as soon as production starts, give and take 5 to 6 weeks for completion of everything. And then we're going to start shipping all orders away. So the second announcement is that because stuff were not available for almost 3 years and I had to go ahead and redesign stuff, then I was looking at the old Steel Dream and talking to Paul Franklin, of course, talking to Paul about it. And I introduced to Paul a few minor, I don't want to say changes, but more like add-ons to the Steel Dream that he was actually happy about. So I spent about 2 years designing it. So the announcement is, second announcement, everyone who pre-ordered the Steel Dream in the last 2 years, you guys are going to be upgraded to the PF Steel Dream 2, which is the newer one. Those of you who were kind of like waiting on a fence and wanted to see what's going on, now that you know things are starting to get available, where there's a catch, and the catch is the production we're going to start in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to do only 50 units to start with. At the moment, the list is almost complete. So there are only a few slots are waiting. Waiting. I'm looking over here on the other stream and say waiting because like 2 people are waiting. There are only a few slots available for that coming batch. So if anyone is interested, be included and receive the new Paul Franklin Steel Dream, jump on a wagon right now and order it because there's only 5 slots left. Okay. So and as soon as the pre-order close for that batch, the next batch we're looking at probably 6 to 7 months. So if you're interested and you want to be included, I'll say go ahead and pre-order yours today. The picture that you guys saw on the previous live stream I was supposed to have, that's the newer Steel Dream. It's like a sneak peek to the newer one. It has a new color, kind of like a purple, something Paul really liked. I showed it to him, kind of surprised him, and I really like that. And also, as you can see, they will be included those chrome knobs, just like those Telecasters. So it's like, an upgraded unit. If anyone has questions, if you want to know what's upgraded and all that, you just, let's chat with each other. I don't want to talk. It's getting boring, right? Okay. So anyway, and the third announcement, which is kind of follow of what I was just talking about in the last few minutes. Other than the Steel Dream, all my other products like the Pro and the Virgo and all that, they were put in the back burner. Again, because I didn't know when I can provide shipping dates. So now that I know that we can get most of the parts very soon, the Pro is going back into production. Um, and then the Lazar as well. It's the modulation board version of the Pro, and the Virgo, which is my dual unit that has just a reverb and delay. That one was kind of like redesigned as well, and that's going to be reintroduced later on this year um, with upgraded functions and on all that stuff. So that's pretty much the announcement as far as um, what I call back catalog. Okay. The last announcement I'm going to give you guys is sometime during this year. I don't know when yet because first I need to focus on stuff that people have been waiting for the longest time, which is the Steel Dream and the Pro and the Lazar and all that stuff. Um, but sometimes later on this year, there will be a few Benado single units coming out. Don't want to say now which one. Some because some of them are going to be a completely new design, something that I haven't done before, and some will be stuff that that you already know from the other boards, but they're going to come out as maybe single units. Not everything, but some. By the way, Norm, are you still there? Um, can you chat? Just let me know you're still there. I just don't know if people can hear me. If not, that's okay. I'm just gonna talk. Okay, cool, great. I know where are the other people. I mean, shows four of them, but I don't see anyone chatting. So that's okay. So any questions, by the way, so far about anything I just said as far as announcements and stuff? If you do, just go ahead and um. Hey Eric, how you doing, my man? Thanks for being here. Um, I don't know what happened over there, but the other stream, I set it up and then it was just exactly like I was just frozen right now. It just froze. It was nothing. It says waiting for Benado. And then I was like, I'm here. What do you mean waiting? I'm here. You just go live. Come on. And it didn't. So anyway, but hopefully the other people will follow the chat. Hold on, I'm getting a message over here. Um, let me make sure. I think my mom was. Hold on, my mom is trying to look at, and I gave her the other one, and she doesn't know how to. Um, hold on, give me just a second. I'm writing my mom. But anyway. Okay, so back to our so that was about the announcement. Okay. So I will say that in next 2 months, we're gonna start seeing stuff coming out on, and there's gonna be as soon as I know that production starts, which like I said, it's supposed to start in the next 2 weeks. Then I'm gonna be engaging more and more and more and start releasing some more stuff so you guys can see what's coming and all that stuff. Okay. So I had a few questions that was sent to me by people. So I want to answer a few of them. So let me read one of them. This one is from Patrick Abate. And Patrick, by the way, Patrick is an Italian a phenomenal guitar player. I really love his playing. I mean, you guys should go and check him out. Um, I'll let me write it down here. See, did I get it right? Yes. Um, yeah, check this name. I think you can check him on Instagram and probably Facebook, YouTube too. Anyway, so he's asking me. It's a great question. He says, how do you pick, choose, and develop the effects to include in your pedal boards? It's a great question. I love it. So, for those of you who maybe don't know, the pedal board is the Steel Dream is a pedal board, but I call the Pro. That's my baby because that's how I started with a Pro. It's when it's when later on the Steel Dream came on. But the way, so if I'll answer Patrick, so look, how do you choose and develop the effects included in your pedal boards? So the process goes like this. There are so many great um pedal manufacturers out there. There's a lot of good ones. Some bad ones, but that's okay. But there's a lot of good ones. The process that I go through is A, what do I think is missing? And B, I am normally go for something that is uh, necessity and simple. So if I'm a guitar player and let's say I play in clubs, okay? Let's start that. Let's say, I will go from there and then I'll go to the professionals, okay? So if I play in clubs and then let's say I play, I don't know, rock, blues, it doesn't matter, jazz, country, it doesn't matter. But me as a player, okay, I'm talking as a player. So I know what sound I'm looking for. I know what I need for my club gigs most of the time. And so now me as the pedal designer, I'm thinking as a player first. And I said, okay, what are the basic stuff that any player is going to need when they're going to play, either in the studio or in a club? And that's where I start. I start with a basic because you can go crazy with having a pedal board with like 9, 10, 12, 14 pedals. But then how many of them do you really use all the time? You know? So that's how my process start. Then when I decide the what are the most important ones that I want to include in my pedal board, that they're always going to be in use. I always going to need them. There's always going to be some that you're really going to need all the time. Then I'm paying attention to quality and tone. And actually, the third thing was supposed to be the number one thing. I first pay attention to what is not going to minimize the tone of my guitar. Okay. When I am going into the amplifier just with the guitar, and now I'm adding a whole bunch of pedals, I don't want my natural tone to be overtaken by the pedals. If it, do you know what I mean? So this is my thought process, is how do I maintain the quality of the guitar? Because that's my instrument, first of all. So how do I maintain the quality of my guitar that not diminished? And then two, I'm looking for that tone thing. And then when I say quality, I'm talking about the quality of parts, because the higher quality, more likely you're going to retain the tone of your guitar and stuff like that. So that's, so that's the process. So, asking, Patrick was asking, um, how do you pick and choose, develop the effect? So, so as far as the kind of effects, already answered in the beginning. And then the designing thing, it's what I just told you guys right now. Um, I stick with the analog path, and the reason is there are too many great digital um, companies out there, doing some great stuff. But I see analog as our natural way of hearing stuff. Okay. There's a guy I always quote him. His name is Steve Stepp, and he's the owner of the actually he's the only American cassette, believe it or not, I'm saying the word cassette company that stayed all the way from back in the 70s and 60s, and it's funny, cassettes is coming back, people. You can see in the background, you see all these cassettes over here. I've been talking about for years, and people laughed at me and say, cassettes? Nah. Well, believe it or not, they're coming back big. But anyway, Steve Stepp said something years ago, and that phrasing just stuck in my mind for so long, and I think that he's so right. This is what he says, and that's when he's talking about uh, tapes and vinyls and cassettes and reel to reel. Like you see behind me, those are analog, right? Said our ear or ears are analog. Okay, there's moving parts that translate the sound wave that's coming in, but it's all moving parts. It's all analog. There's nothing digital. Well, I guess until Elon Musk is going to change it. Until then, our body, our ear, are analog. So therefore, we hear analog. So I want to go on that path, that if I hear analog, my ears are analog devices, then it's natural that everything that's going to come through the guitar will still be analog, because that's the natural. That's why you hear a lot of people say, yeah, it sounds warmer, it sounds natural. That's why. Okay, because you have moving parts within, and then your ears are analog. So I hope I answer Patrick his question, because I've been asked so many times this kind of question. So I'm glad that I was able to. I think my mom just joined us. By the way, Eric, my mom is here, and you can see she was writing to me in Hebrew. My mom is in Israel right now, and but anyway, she write here that, of course, like any Jewish mom, she's going to say how much she's proud of me and how much she believes in me and everything that I do and all that stuff. Um, so, and what did she say? She said something about my father. Oh, she said that in my genes, I have my father's genes. Then after he passed away, I am the one who carries genes, and he's, you know. So thanks, mom. I love you too. Um, Mom, if you can hear me, Eric Thompson is here with us too, and he's the guy that always send you messages. Mom, do you remember I told you there's a guy that always send you messages that how much he pray for you, and he pray for Israel and all that stuff. Say, so he says right now, I love that lady. Eric Thompson is sending my mom a message. He says he love her. Well, Eric, thank you very much. It's really sweet of you. Thank you. Before I move to other questions, here's Norm. Norm is asking, what is the change from the earlier Steel Dream? Aha. Okay. Well, you really want to know? Okay, I will tell you. So, hold on, let me see. There's some people here sending me message, just to make sure that they're not waiting. Hold on for a second. Um, hold on. Hold on. I'm telling people to join us because they tried to get to the other one and they said there's nothing going on. Okay. So, Norm, the changes in the new Steel Dream, some of it is obvious. It's the color and the knobs and all, but that's not what it's going to want somebody to maybe change from the old one to the new one. So the delay and a reverb has some additional features on. Okay. Um, some of the features I don't want to say in public yet until it's officially released, but um, some of the things I can say is this: the delay right now will have an option to have like a tape echo, like an old Echoplex kind of a thing option. So you can with a turn of a knob, actually two knobs, uh, have that Echoplex effect in it. Okay. The other change in the delay, um, I believe it's a bit cleaner, a little bit, maybe. Um, I was able to get a little bit more high frequencies uh, go through. Of course, that now you guys need to understand the delay chip that we're using. It's what we call the hybrid delay chip, to kind of like a digital analog thing, uh, which has a lot of limitations. And those limitations are you can't run that chip to a really slow delay, then it starts crapping out and start getting noisy and stuff like that. Um, so I was able to get a little bit more high frequencies on, let's say, on a comfortable delay time for still players, so it's still going to be nice and clean and all that stuff. Um, the other thing, we're still on the delay, so you're noticing it, right? Still on the delay because there's a on the reverb. I'll tell you in a second what else. The other thing on the delay is I put in what I called analog tap tempo, and the reason it's analog tap tempo, I was trying to go with a traditional tap tempo, and somehow um, it's just not doesn't doesn't sound good. It creates some noises and stuff like that, which I didn't like. So the analog tap tempo, you'll see how it works. Don't want to say too much about it, but it's kind of cool, you know. Um, I think that's it for the delay, I believe. Then the reverb has an extra option, and it's I added a knob. So if you remember, the old steel drum had four knobs, right? So there's an extra knob, and then now you can have what I call the ambient sound. So if you like that cathedral uh atmospheric effect for the reverb, so it's kind of like sound like very long and atmospheric, there I added that to the reverb. Okay. So it's there now. So you can with a turn of a knob, and in fact, uh that option with a delay together will give you such a beautiful long atmospheric kind of a thing of effect. and like I said, it's a knob, so you don't want it, you just turn it up, turn it down, and you're done. Um, these are the main changes on the Steel Dream, the newer one. It's another one. It's another change. It's shorter, actually. So I don't know if it's shorter enough to now fit in your seat. Probably, I don't know. But I believe, but it is shorter from the original one. So if that's something that um, is something that you might want to look at it. So that's another one. Um, so that's pretty much kind of like without giving too much of information right now. It's pretty much and of course you got the new color, you got the new the other thing is all the switches are soft now. The stump switches, all of them are just a soft stump switch. So that's also, it's a great thing. You don't have the clicking. I'm not talking about the pop. I'm just talking about the manual clicking of the switch. Now it's soft. So that's great. That's great there. So that's what pretty much is new about that. You're welcome. You're welcome, Norm. Um, and the other thing is, if you guys remember in the beginning, I was talking about that everybody was raising prices on manufacturers by 400%. All parts are now like 400% more. I didn't change the pricing much. I mean, for almost 12 years, I was selling it for $6.99, and now it's $7.99. So it's only $100 more. So I mean, in reality, it's kind of the same price, because you get more functions. Parts are more expensive for me, but the price is almost the same. You ask me, well, man, how do you make money? Well, I'm okay. Um, I'm not in a business to try to make too much money on the expense of my clients. If I can sell my product and live comfortably, and then my clients are happy, I'm happy. I mean, that's all I need. I don't care about money much. Um, so I hope that answered the question, Norm. And as always, you can always call me directly if you want to know a little bit more uh in depth and stuff. So you're welcome to do that. So the other stuff that I wanted to talk about is the actual the what you know what let me go back a little bit to the Steel Dream. Actually, I want to say something about the Steel Dream. It's very important, especially with the new one. So the new Steel Dream going to be called the PF Steel Dream 2. Okay, so we already know that. Okay, that's cool. Um, with some of the changes, or not the changes, the add-ons that I have on the Steel Dream, um, it's even more now um going to be compatible with just guitar players. I mean, it was compatible with guitar players before, but people were kind of like thinking, oh, it's called Steel Dream and it's Paul Franklin, so it's probably just good for steel players. So no, I mean, it was always good for both. But now, with some the added features to the new Steel Dream, it's even more in compatibility with guitar players. Okay. So if you're a guitar player and let's say you don't have the money to spend on the Pro, because the Pro, it's pretty expensive. Uh, but but you're okay with the basic. You got the overdrive, you got the delay, you got the reverb, and it's a pretty affordable price. Then it's going to be great. It's going to be great for guitar players. If you're a steel players that play steel and guitar, well, you can use it for both. In fact, you can run an AB box, and send one to your steel guitar and one to the electric guitar, right? And just use the Steel Dream as your main unit for both of them. So, I mean, that's pretty much the what the new Steel Dream can do. I mean, it's pretty fun, but um so it's even more compatible with guitar players. So and the reason I'm saying it is because I'm getting a lot of questions from guitar players. Hey, is the Steel Dream going to work for guitar players? And it's like, yeah, it will work for guitar players. I mean, it's you guys need to remember, I started Benado, um I'm a guitar player. I don't play steel guitar. And the big unit that I started with was for guitar players. And and here's the funny story. I don't know if a lot of you know that story. It's like how Paul Franklin got the Steel Dream thingy. So for those of you who don't know, well, Paul and I have been friends for a long time, even before I started the business. And and then when I before I started the business, I made a prototype, and I gave Brent Mason to try it, and Brent loved it. So when I went into production, I got Brent. It was one of the first units was Brent. I got Brent is Benado Pro board, the big one. So one day I'm getting a call from Paul Franklin. It's like, hey Sage, what is that white, kind of like a creamy board that Brent is playing? And I was like, oh, it's my new thing. Why? I was like, I tried it in the studio and I love it. I want one. I was like, what? You tried it with a pedal steel and all? I said, yeah. I recorded a whole album with it. And I was like, oh my God, wow, I didn't know. So some of you who don't know, Paul Franklin actually started with the big board. That's what he started with. And that was in 2011, like the end of 2011. Then we started talking about, and then he asked me, Sage, do you think you can create something that it's maybe smaller and simpler and maybe less expensive than the big one for that will be dedicated for the steel players, because I think they're gonna love it. And I said, yeah, I think so. I mean, what do you think gonna work for them? And he said, well, if you're gonna take, because the big pedal board had a compressor, had a heavy overdrive, and then it has a lighter overdrive, delay, and a reverb. He said, well, if you just take the light overdrive, delay, and reverb and put it like together in a smaller box, that will be perfect. I mean, the steel players will love it. I was like, okay. And then, do you think I need to change anything? And he said, no. I mean, just the way it is, it's fine. So that's how the Steel Dream came about. Of course, I kind of like, he didn't say I needed to change anything, but I remember what I said in the beginning. I listen to quality and I listen to tone. There's a few things that a pedal steel guitar will need more than just a regular guitar, and I'm not going to get into all the technical stuff, but you pedal steel players, you guys know, you will know. So anyway, so I kind of tweaked it a little bit, and then the first Steel Dream came out. Hold on, let me say hello to Roger. Must be a special feeling to listen those legendary players while knowing they're using your board. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I got some more. I got some more stories. So if you want to hang out in here, you'll hear some more. So that's what I did, and that's how the first Steel Dream came about. It's pretty much part of the big board that Paul played in 2011, and we focused on something that will be available directly just for the steel, pedal steel players. So that's how it came about. And then in 2012, the Steel Dream came out, and believe it or not, um, almost every single album that Paul has recorded since 2012, the Steel Dream is in that recording in any form. So we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of albums that you probably don't even realize, but it's in there. Some of the albums I remember, off the top of my head. I mean, of course, um George Strait, all the albums. Do you guys remember Lion Richie was doing an album in Nashville, and what was the name of it? I forgot the name, but uh he had like guest appearances, like, he was like doing a duet with different country singers. So anyway, on 2 or 3 tracks on that album, Paul Franklin was playing, and the Still Dream is on it. I mean, it's just a little examples, but I mean, there's like hundreds and hundreds of albums that Paul used. Of course, the 2 albums they came out with Vince Gill, those two. I mean, it's like Still Dream is all over the place over there. Uh, so that's how the Still Dream came about. So when I worked on the new version of the Steel Dream, I remember Paul told me, "Don't change anything." I mean, I'm gonna kill you if you're gonna change anything. It has to stay the same. And I was like, "No, no, no, I'm not changing anything. If I do anything to the Steel Dream, I'm just maybe gonna add 1 or 2 features that I hear from a lot of players that they wish they had it or they would like to have it." That's why the changes are minimal, but they're minimal as far as the amount of changes, but they're major as far as tone. Okay. So so with all that, now the Steel Dream, it's even more compatible with guitar players as well, just because of those, just those little things that I added on, like the one I was talking about, the Echoplex thingy. So for a guitar player, for instance, I can see them using the Echoplex option to create that shimmer, like the chorusing kind of thing behind the delay. Okay. um the cathedral atmospheric thing that I see on that the reverb has, I can see a lot of guitar players using that as, that cathedral kind of a thing. So, but anyway, so that's like the backstory about how the Steel Dream came about. Now, here's something I think I can say, because he already used it a few times, and I believe it might gonna come out also as one of the units. So Roger and Norm and anyone who's listening. So another unit that kind of worked with Paul, well, actually not work with Paul. Paul asked me for a few things, but I already had it in my mind that I would like to introduce it to him. But just before COVID started, it was February 2020. Okay. I just finished building a new unit for Paul. It's the big unit. And you guys might have seen it on the Steel Forum a few years ago. It's the red, and it's like my Pro, but it's red, and had that chrome knobs and stuff like that. But that unit had a Peterson tuner built in. Then there was the same overdrive on the Steel Dream, a chorus, 2 delays, and a reverb. And I delivered that unit to Paul. Gosh, I remember it. It was February 28th. Uh, Play with the time jumpers. I came to Nashville, and I walk into backstage and said, Paul, look at this. And it was like his eyes were like this big. Oh my God. He said, can I use it tonight? I was like, are you sure? I mean, you don't want to listen to it? No, let me try it. So here's, and I'm all shaking because he's here with the time jumpers, and Vince Gill was there and everybody, and he's gonna put in a brand new unit that I just finished soldered like 12 hours ago. Um, and I was I was freaking out. But anyway, he played the whole 2 hours with the unit, and after the show, he was like, "Oh my God, say it sounded great." And he said, "Guess what? Um, that's the unit I'm going to take to the Chris Stapleton tour that I'm going to start very soon." It's like, "Oh my God, are you sure?" Yeah. Well, a few days later, COVID started, and then the Chris Stapleton tour was shut down, as we all know. Everything was shut down. But then, like, I think about a year later, we're kind of like starting to get back and in and out from COVID and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I'm getting a message from Paul, and it's like, look at this. And there's a video, he was playing with Chris Stapleton. Can't remember where it was, but there was that big uh, red unit I built for him a few months before, and it was there. So we're calling it the PF6 Pro. Why six? It has six pedals in there. The tuner is one of them. Now, I'm not sure that the tuner is going to be introduced because, again, what COVID caused us. Um, the tuner that I included for Paul, uh, Peterson don't make them anymore. It's discontinued. So it's just going to require me to do a whole brand new enclosure. I mean, it's just a chaos. So unless I'm going to find another solution for a tuner, then it's going to be probably the PF5. So just the same thing, just without the tuner. But um, so that's another one that's going to come out soon. It's going to be the what I call the Paul Franklin version. But so that's pretty much as far as what was going on in the last couple of years. You know, um, I want to send a message to a few clients that I have overseas, because I have clients from Japan, I have clients from France that order like 2.5 years ago and are still waiting. So um, first, I really appreciate that you guys believe in me. I really appreciate that you guys trust me, and we are getting what I call to the end of the tunnel of that chaos, and your units will be finished very, very, very soon, and then you guys can enjoy it, and we can all go back to normal, and back to uh, what we love to do, which is create and build and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty much most of the stuff that I had to say. Um, you know, um, there are a few players over there that I like to mention, because they've been supporting me um, for quite a long time, and you know, even I was even though I was shut down for about 3 years, they kind of like stuck with me. People like Randy Course and Brent Mason and Paul Franklin and Eric Thompson. Eric is here too. I mean, he's a big supporter. I mean, he doesn't use my stuff yet, I know, but he's a big supporter, and I really appreciate that. Um, you know, Vince Gill was using the stuff for a long time. I don't know what he's using now when he's playing with the Eagles. Um, but somebody told me couple of years ago that they saw him with the Eagles and they saw my pedal board um during the show. So I don't know, but I mean, and I'm sure I forgot a few more names, and if I did, please forgive me. But I love you all, and I really appreciate you guys uh showing your support and appreciation to the Benado brand. And as I said in the beginning of this year, 2024 are going to be a year of change. And although it has a slower start than I wanted, because production was supposed to start a month ago, but it's a little bit delay. But even though the change is coming, and the change is coming for good, so we're gonna have a lot of good stuff coming, and I'm so excited to introduce some of the new stuff. I'm so excited to show you guys what's coming, because there's a lot of stuff that I've been working here um, in the other room for the past 5 years that still didn't see the light yet. But they are very, very, very great stuff. Um, I also want to thank the people that work closely with me. I'm not going to mention their names because I don't want the sharks out there to go after them and then steal them away from me. But they know who they are, you know. Actually, I can, you know what? I'll mention the first names, and that's going to be enough. There's Chris, he know who he is. And there's Eric, he knows who he is. There's John, and he knows who he is. But that's it. I'm not going to give you no last names and no affiliation, no nothing. But these guys been with me for a long time, and they're pretty big supporters, and I really appreciate um everything they've done for me. Okay, so before we close, and you guys have any questions? Any, you want to write it down, say something? um I will try to do these live things if I can, maybe on either a weekly or a bi-weekly. It's probably not going to be that long, but uh but maybe a weekly or bi-weekly thing. I'll try to do that. There's so many things I'm trying to do to be more engaged and involved. And sometimes it's really hard when you're the only one in a business and you have to take care of clients and you have to build and all that stuff. It's really hard to do that. But now that it's getting a little bit, I get a little bit more help, and that will allow me to focus on things that I really need to, like designing and promoting, and go out and see you guys. Just go and be at shows, and be with you guys, stuff like that. So I'm probably going to be a little bit more doing more live streamings, probably going to be do more podcasts, um going to be doing that. And but I'm my main focus on is designing, make sure that the products are out the door, and then make sure that you guys are enjoying it, and then the rest is coming as the icing or the cake, as I call it. Okay, so it was really great spending the last hour with you guys. um I don't know, we might have lost a lot of people because the other stream was frozen. So, and that's the link. I sent a link to, I don't know, I have 50 or 100 people. So I don't know, maybe we lost most of them. But all of you guys that stuck around, I really appreciate that. It's really fun. Thanks for watching. And then we'll see you guys soon. Let's have some music. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was it. Well, thank you guys, and we'll see you soon. Bye.